Om Namaste. Welcome to Maharishi Kapi Nakshatra Navamsha Jyotish. Before we start learning Rashis, the zodiac signs, and their predictive applications, first we must understand why we are learning Jyotish and what are our duties and responsibilities as a Jyotish. Astrology is called Jyotish in the Sanskrit. The reason because it is about the two steps. Astrology is the science of analyzing the planetary movement, the environmental changes, and predicting the future possibilities or probabilities in one's life. Whereas Jyotish is, the astrology part is there, that yes, we have to analyze the environmental changes and we have to predict the possibilities or probabilities in the future of a person. But also, we have to understand its karmic, subconscious, and psychological and spiritual aspect. When these all aspects merge together, that becomes Jyotish. How Jyotish Shastra can help us? When it was originated. In the starting of the creation, when God created this whole universe, He first created plants, rivers, ocean, animals, and everything. After then, when all the resources were there, He created human beings. The human beings, when they were born, God analyzed them and selected the finest humans who had such a control over their senses and such a pure heart as of a rishi or a sage. To those four sages, rishis, Agni, Aditya, Vayu, Angira, God shared the divine knowledge of Vedas. Jyotish is a part of Veda. Billion years ago, when Agni, Aditya, Vayu, Angira received this knowledge, since then, from one generation to next generation, the knowledge has been passed on. Today, whatever I have received from my Guru and from my Gurus in the tradition, in the past generations, and whatever I have experienced in my own practice of 12 years, I'm going to share all of that with you. But before we start learning, one very important question comes in mind. What are we supposed to do as a Jyotish? Isn't it? It's the very important and the first question coming to mind. What are we supposed to do? Okay, I will learn this science and I will open a clinic, a consultation office. But what next? What I'm supposed to do? For any Jyotish, for any Vedic astrologer, see, for your understanding, I will be calling the word Jyotish so that you remember the word. Okay, it will save in your memory. Jyotish means, in another word, Vedic astrology or Vedic astrologer. Okay, so as a Jyotish, what am I supposed to do? Now, there are two things, the two prime tasks we have to do. First is, see, whatever you have done in previous lives, I'm talking lives, not one life, okay? In the philosophy class, in the course, many times I have taught, and if the ones who have taken that course, they already know that soul stays in the universe, taking birth and dying and taking birth again and again for approx million years. Okay. Then it gets salvation, freedom, and then stays for approx a million year there, and then again has to come back to take birth and again continue the cycle. So maybe previously in 1,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 years, like 50,000 lives you have lived already on this planet or some other planet as a human or some other creature. Now, whatever good or bad karma you have done in those previous lives, those karmas, those actions, or those activities are stored in the cloud server of God. So God only has the access to that cloud server, to those past karmas. But as a Jyotish, by the blessing of God, you can also get the access to that cloud server. So the first job, the first task of every Jyotish is to access the cloud server of God and get the past life karmas done by that particular soul, whose chart we are seeing. Okay. The source of our existence, our creator, is Om. Om is the ultimate name of God, the creator, the supreme being, and it is the most powerful name of God, the most powerful. So that is the first task, to find out the past life karmas of a soul. Now the second one is, you see, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, one generation to next generation, they are sharing their sperm, their ova. They are continuously sharing from one generation to next generation. Now, sperm and ovum, they are continuously getting shared from one to next. Their knowledge, all their physical, psychological information, everything which is stored in their DNA is being shared from one generation to next generation. So what you are today, how you think today, how you look today, that may be a 70 to 80% part of it is coming from your ancestors. So that is very, very important to know. If you want to know how a particular person behaves and why they behave in a certain manner, why they take certain actions in a certain way, for that we must understand the past generations. At a very early age, when I was 11, 12, I started showing inclination toward spirituality. At the age of 18, I started giving consultation to people. I started helping people out there with my knowledge of Jyotish, Vedas, Ayurveda, and other healing sciences. And since then, I'm continuously walking on this path. I learned Jyotish, I learned Ayurveda and various other sciences, and I merged all of those sciences into one to permanently cure the problems of life. But from where this is coming? Why I'm thinking in a certain way? What makes me a pioneer? What makes me an inventor? Because my grandfather was the same. He was a great scholar of Ayurveda, the Vedic medical science, as well as he learned Western medicine, allopathy, as well as he learned homeopathy, as well as he learned Jyotish. And he mixed all those sciences, and that is why in that time when he was alive, people used to worship him, because he had 100% success rate. No patient died who came to him. His all patients survived and became healthy. So That is, the code was in his DNA which came to my father. Now, my father has 5 brothers, including my father. They are 5 brothers. My grandfather had this code, this specific quality, which came to my father only, not to the other brothers or other sons of my grandfather. Only one child received that specific information of DNA. Why others didn't get that? Now, from my father, me and my brother, we both got the same code. He's like my twin. Even though he is 2 years younger than me, but still, he's like my twin. So, these all informations, they are very, very important. If we can find out the mystery, the reason why it is happening in a certain way, why the information is passing only to one child, not to other 4, we can understand a lot about the person. So as a Jyotish, the first 2 tasks you have to do is that you have to find out the past life karmas, all the past life karmas the soul has done, and you have to find out what and how the genetical information is passing from one generation to next generation. Then comes the last part. As a Jyotish, you have to predict the event, and for the problems, you have to recommend remedies, solutions. Next question comes here. How predictive Jyotish works? I'm sure all of you must be waiting for this question to come. How the Jyotish works? Why the astrologers, they connect it with 8th house of occult mysteries? That is a false practice. 8th house is not the house of astrology or Jyotish. 9th is the house of astrology and Jyotish because it is a higher learning, it is a higher knowledge. It is not a mystery. We know how it works. The science is there. The thing is, we have to read Veda if we actually want to understand how Jyotish works. So it is known. The astrologers who do not know the source of it, the mystery of it, the mechanism of Jyotish, they connect it with the 8th house because for them it is a mystery. But for the Vedic scholars who know the mechanism, who know how it works, for them it is a higher knowledge. So they connect it with the 9th house. Now, from a Vedic perspective, now see, I connect Jyotish to the 9th house of higher knowledge, higher learning. So how, from the Vedic perspective, from the Vedic point of view, Jyotish works? The past life karma, whatever past life karma your soul has done in the previous lives. See what happens, God keeps accumulating all the data of your all lives into one server. All your information is going into one drive. Now, all that information is getting mixed. What God does, He select particular karmas, particular activities, and He assign it to you in this life. It's like whatever you earn, you save in your savings account. But if you are going for a trip, for holidays in the weekends, what you do? You don't take all money out of your bank account. You take some of it to spend on that holiday the same way. Some karma God give you to execute in that particular life. So those karma, those past life karma which you have to execute in this life, plus the universal energy at the time of your birth. There are 3 universal energies which are actually working. What we call is a cosmic energy and the parental or the hierarchical energy, okay, or environmental energy. The cosmic energy is the planets, the satellites, and asteroids, all of those, they are traveling around Earth and they are affecting Earth and life on it. So every life is getting affected on this particular planet by the celestial beings, by the planets, by the asteroids, satellites, etc. That is what we call the cosmic energy. As well as when your parents conceive you, from then, what day, that day when your mother conceived you, how was the environmental energy? How was the psychology of your parents? This is one factor. Now, second is from conceiving to your birth, what was the experience of your mother? What was the environment? What were the situations around her? And at the time of your birth, now we mix both of them. At the time of your birth, in the sky around Earth, as well as in your neighborhood around your home, what are the conditions? What is the weather? What is the nature? What is the actual temperature? Okay, what is the spiritual energy? What is the aura of your home or hospital where you are taking birth, as well as what is the placement of the planets in the sky around Earth? These all factors combined are called universal energy at the time of your birth. Okay. So I explained so that you don't feel confused. Now, please, I will provide you the images, the slide, these all slides I will provide you, but also first, these all lectures I'm recording. So first, listen to all lectures carefully with full attention and focus. After that, calmly again listen to the lecture and make your fair notes. Because when you listen 2 times and then you write in your register, in your notebook, it stores in your brain. The Vedic science says that if you chant or say or read anything for 28 times, again and again you are saying the same thing. It stores in your DNA. A very important secret I have shared with you. Tie it with your brain, okay? So save it. Whatever past life karma you have to execute in this life, which you are getting from previous lives, and the universal energy at the time of your birth, together they decide your psychology. How you think, how you behave, how you see other things, what is your perspective toward things. Your psychology is decided by your past life karmas as well as the universal energy at the time of your birth. Now, your the psychology and the situation or conditions in life. See, we all have a different situation and condition. Just imagine there are 2 children. Both have same psychology. Just imagine, both have 2, just for example's sake, both have same psychology. Both are hardworking. Both are inventors. Both are pioneers. But one of them gets all the resources to do the invention, to do the, society is supporting, parents are rich, they are providing support to the child. Whereas the other child is born poor, orphan. He has to work so that child can arrange food and living for himself. Now, the child which is getting resources may start inventing and creating new things at a very early age because all the resources are there. Whereas the other child may first work and arrange food and living, and after then he start doing something, inventing something. So your situations and conditions in your life and your psychology, how you think, how you behave, how you see others, together they decide the individual choices you make. What choice you make, that is decided by your psychology and the situation and conditions in your life. Now, these individual choices, they end up in life events. For example, there are 2 boys, both want to marry. Both want to marry a bold, fierce, and courageous lady, a courageous, intellectual, smart lady. Now, one boy goes to a school which is a co-education based school. So boys and girls both are studying together. Now at a very early age, that boy in his class or some other class connects with a girl with same psychology, with same qualities. They fall in love. They start growing together. And one day they marry. And then they live life together. Now, that was a love marriage the boy had. Another boy. Father was in army. The child took admission in a boys' college where only boys are there. The school was so strict and disciplined. The boys, all facilities were provided to them inside, but they were not allowed to go outside alone to drink or smoke or waste their life. They were not allowed to do anything which will destroy their body, mind, or their psychology. Now, the children are the future. The children are future of this nation, of this world. So, the teachers are very conscious and very protective toward those children. Now, that boy, he grows and then he goes to some army mission. For years, he is there, busy fighting, protecting the nation, not getting any opportunity to find such a bold, fierce girls. Finally, he connects with one lady officer there, and it is war, so they can't just come home and get married. They take time, they come back home. The boy and girl both have a strong, a lovely connection with their parents, with their families. They talk to their families and then they marry. The marriage is love come arranged marriage, and it is they have not spent whole their childhood or their youth together because the situations didn't allow them. So you can see how the situations and conditions in your life with your psychology can create your life events. And everything is an individual choice. Remember that. By birth, you get your parents, you get your siblings, you get your relatives, you get your body, you get your mind. That is all what is predestined. Rest everything, with whom you marry, how much you earn, what clothes you wear, will you be rich or poor, how much education you will get, everything is an individual choice. That is why all those events can be altered, we can change them. If your chart is showing that your psychology and the situations together will make you poor in life, you won't be able to be rich. Still, by the remedies and solutions, you can, by changing your choices, you can change the life events. In future, we will see that how that works. In the when we will start the predictive science, then we will study that. Okay, I hope this concept is clear to you, that how the life is working, how Jyotish, the astrology, Vedic astrology is working. Om iti Brahma. Om is the most powerful and real name of God. See you in next class.